Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Manappuram Finance Limited Q2 Results Conference Call hosted by Batlivala & Karani Securities India Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Sanket Chheda from B&K Securities. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Hi, a very good afternoon to all of you. We have with us today the entire senior management team of Manappuram to discuss the Q2 FY22 results and also any queries that investors might have. So from Manappuram, we have Mr. Nandakumar, MD and CEO, and also Ms. Bindu, who is the CFO. Also, we have the senior management team from the respective subsidiaries, Ashirwad and then Vehicle and Home Finance Book. I would now hand over the call to Mr. Nandakumar for opening remarks and then followed by question and answers. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Q2 FY 2022 conference call. I hope you and your family are safe and doing well. In our last con call to discuss the Q1 results, I had mentioned that the recovery in the economy, which was seen first in the formal sector, was also beginning to be felt in the unorganized and rural sector. Since then, we are seeing signs of a sustained uptrend. With the resumption of economic activity supported by the rapid pace vaccination. In fact, the key takeaway from our Q2 performance is the robust growth we have achieved in our business volumes, be it in gold loan, microfinance, or in the home loan or vehicle loan. It reflects the emerging recovery in the rural and unorganized sectors, aided by some of our own focused efforts in this direction. The trends are promising and going forward, we expect to sustain the growth along with improved profitability. In the last con call, I had also mentioned how private and PSU banks as well as other non-gold loan focused NBFCs had sought to counter the stress their general loan book by pushing their gold loan offerings and competing on price and tenure. They had targeted some of our high-value customers with loans above 1 lakh for takeover. Since then, we have responded with aggressive efforts of our own to retain and attract high-value customers. The results are visible in the sharp growth of our gold loan portfolio, which at 18,720 crores is up sequentially by over 13% compared to 16,540 crores for the preceding quarter. Importantly, this was accompanied by proportionate growth in gold collateral, which grew sequentially by 11.4% to 64.7 tons from 58.08 tons in Q1. Further, we also saw a 4.2% Q-on-Q growth in the live customer base of gold loans. The growth was no doubt aided by overall recovery in the informal sector and the wood monsoon. Equally, a key role was played by a more focused marketing strategy, which involved hiring of over 1,600 marketing personnel who were posted at the branches. This was accompanied by higher spends on advertisements across print, electronic, and new media channels. While this has pushed up our OPEX, we see an investment in growth, which will pay over the short to medium term. Consequently, our consolidated net profit at 370 crores was lower by about 15% compared to Q1. In fact, by the end of this fiscal year, we expect our gold loan portfolio to grow by about 15 to 20% over the previous fiscal. Away from gold loans, our non-gold business also recorded brisk growth during the quarter, led by our microfinance subsidiary, Ashirvad Microfinance. Its AUM of 7,160 crores represents a growth of 18% Q on Q and is perhaps another pointer to the strength of the recovery in the informal economy. Our commercial vehicle business reported a Q on Q growth of 21%, while our housing loan subsidiary reported more modest growth, growing its book by 9.58% during the quarter. The full details of performance of our non-gold business has also a more comprehensive look at all our numbers will be covered shortly by our CFO. For now, I would like to conclude with a reminder that last month, the international rating agency, S&P, upgraded our long-term issuer credit rating from B+ to BB- with a stable outlook. S&P also affirmed the B short-term issuer credit rating for the company. Thank you. And now over to our CFO, Mr. Bindu Ayal, for a more detailed look at the numbers.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our stakeholders for attending the quarterly update call. The industry saw a drop in disbursements and collections in Q1 and is expected to bounce back to the pre-pandemic level by the end of this fiscal. While collections have already started improving, disbursements gained momentum in the run-up to the festival season, good monsoon and pent-up demand for credit across various sectors. Now coming to the operational overview, we are carrying surplus liquidity across all businesses. Cash and cash equivalents on hand on a consolidated basis was rupees 4,578 crore and undrawn bank line was rupees 4,265 crore at the end of the quarter. Our CP exposure is 8% of total borrowing in the standalone entity. Our ALM is well positioned across all buckets. Standalone borrowing cost has come down to 7.94% in comparison with 8.61% in Q1 FY22. Our consolidated AUM for Q2 FY22 was rupees 28,422 crore, up by 14.8% Q on Q and up by 5.6% YOY. The sequential growth in AUM was largely on account of gold loan growth. During the quarter, the company invested significantly in gold loan growth initiatives, which led to increased OPEX. We hired 1,622 marketing personnel at branches to drive higher growth, additional spends on advertisements, and higher growth resulted into increased field incentives. As a result, consolidated profit after tax was rupees 370 crore for Q2 FY22, down by 15.3% Q-on-Q and down by 8.8% YOY. ROE on a consolidated basis was 19% and ROA was 4.7% for the quarter ended September 21. Gold loan business, which constitutes 66% of consolidated AUM, whereas the balance 34% comprises of microfinance, vehicle, housing and other businesses. This quarter witnessed a sharp growth in gold loan, tonnage and new customer acquisition. Gold loan AUM increased by 13.2% Q-on-Q, down by 5.2% YOY. Gold holdings stood at 64.7 tons, up by 11.4% Q-on-Q and down by 6% YOY. During the quarter, we were able to add 3.89 lakh new customers against 2 lakh in last quarter. Gold loan average ticket size and average duration was rupees 48,090 and 106 days respectively. The total number of gold loan customers stood at 25.08 lakhs. The gold loan book at rupees 18,720 crore. Our weighted average LTV stands at rupees 2,896 per gram or 67% of the gold price as on 30th September 2021, which is well below among the peer group. Gold loan disbursements during the quarter stood at rupees 34,783 crore. The online gold loan book accounts for 45% of the total gold loan book. Coming to MFI business, Ashirvad MFI AUM stands at rupees 7,162 crore, up by 18.3% Q-on-Q and up by 44.1% YOY. And this business reported a profit after tax of rupees 12 crore in Q2 compared to rupees 7 crore in Q1 FY22. Our collection efficiency from MFI business during the quarter was 91% compared to 74% in Q1 FY22, and disbursements during the quarter was rupees 2,749 crore. The company has a capital adequacy ratio of 18.6%. Vehicle finance business, we have reported an AUM of rupees 1,267 crore, which is up by 21.3% Q-on-Q and up by 19.3% YOY. Collection efficiency for the quarter was 120% compared to 97% in Q1 FY22. Home loan business, total loan book of rupees 732 crore, which is up by 9.6% Q-on-Q and up by 18% YOY. It now operates from 73 branches and reported a profit of rupees 2.7 crore during the quarter. Collection efficiency for the quarter was 95% compared to 84% in Q1 FY22. Loan to NBFCs at rupees 79 crore and SME loan book stands at rupees 461 crore. Provisions and write-outs for the standalone entity during the quarter at rupees 10 crore compared to rupees 29 crore in Q1. Our GNPA at 1.59% at the end of the quarter compared to 1.96% in Q1. The board declared an interim dividend of 75 paise for this quarter. Our capital position is strong and the company is well capitalized with a capital adequacy ratio of 31.8%. Company's consolidated net worth stands at rupees 7,968 crore. The book value per share stood at rupees 94.1 paise. Thanks. Now we can go for the Q&A session.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Participants who wish to ask a question may kindly press star 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We have the first question from the line of Ashwin Kumar Balasubramanian from HSBC AMC. Kindly proceed.
Hello. Yeah, hi. My question was regarding the MFI business. It's seen a fairly sharp growth. In fact, seems to be higher than even many of your peers. And also today it constitutes about 25% of the overall consolidated loan book. So, I mean, do you have any kind of upper limit in mind as a proportion? So that is the first question. And the second question is on the asset quality here. So if I look at slide number 27, your collection efficiency seems to have improved in this quarter, but if I look at the 0 plus, 30 plus, 60 plus numbers, I mean, those are higher. So, I mean, just wanted to, it would help if you could just explain that slide a little bit better so that we can get a better understanding of what's the exact trend there. Thank you.
So, your question was on two counts. One about the MFI business. Out of consolidated portfolio, 25% is from microfinance. About the growth plans. So, how much at the consolidated level we are allocating our capital? Our capital allocation for MFI business would not exceed more than 50%. It is capped at 15%. Now, the capital we have allocated stands well below 10%. If for its growth, anything is required more than 15% of our consolidated growth, we will raise the capital from outside, or we will restrict the growth at that point of time. This is our risk appetite as far as the MFI business is concerned. So 85% of our capital will be allocated for secured business. There also our major trust area, more than 50% of our capital will all the time be allocated for gold loan business. That is according to priority, that will be the priority number one. The priority number two, where around 20% of the capital will be used would be for mortgage business, micro mortgages up to 15 lakhs. This comprises both affordable housing as well as MSME portfolio, as I mentioned, which will be fully secured against collateral. And the third, where around 15% of our capital would be allocated would be for vehicle finance. There also the trust will be more against commercial vehicles rather than private vehicles. And the balance of 15%, 10%, 15% maximum. And we want, even then 15%, we would limit that capital allocation at around 10%. This is at the consolidated level, this is our business plan. And about collection efficiency, your questions will be answered by the CFO, Mr. Yogesh. Yeah. Yogesh, you can.
Sure. Sir, our collection efficiency is certainly improving over quarter on quarter, which is catching up to 91%. Though the PAR will, at the moment, is around 26%, and we hope that our efficiency will cross above 95% above in Q3, more than 95%, which will definitely help us to collect also overdues from the current OD customer, and we hope to bring PAR down, which is at around 26% currently. Substantial reduction we have planned in for Q3.
If I can just clarify that, but even the overdue proportion, even the 0 plus has increased, right? Like from 22.4 to 25.8. Right. So, I mean, because if the collection efficiency has improved, I mean, we would normally expect that to come down. So is there any like restructuring which you had provided in June or something which has come out of the moratorium or something of that kind which is contributing to this?
Not exactly. I mean, restructuring could be one of the reasons, but again, in the current scenario, even we are also having little more of fresh flow, which is coming from the non-OD book. So my PAR may remain at around, had remained 26%. Improved collection efficiency has not given us the impact which we resulted, so which we intended to have. So the Q3 our endeavor is to reduce the fresh flow, which is slightly higher for us, was higher for us in Q2. Once we control that, it will definitely give us the desired results of reduction in PAR.
And how much would be your restructured book, and like what will be the nature of the restructuring which you would have done typically?
So currently we have around 1,000 crore which is remaining under the restructuring book, which is around 15%. So the customers, we have seen that some customers have requested us for restructuring. They did not want to. We had also taken that into consideration. And the current efficiency in the restructured book is slightly lower, which has pulled the overall our efficiency down. Our restructured book efficiency is around 70%. So that once we improve that will automatically improve all the parameters.
But you would not have any moratorium in this restructured book, or I mean, how would that be?
No, we did not give any moratorium.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sibrat Trivedi from SBI Life. Kindly proceed.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thanks for taking the question. Just wanted to know what has been the gold auction in terms of tonnage and value this quarter.
Yeah. So we had seen a higher auction in Q1. So now the things are almost back to normal. During the quarter we are done in terms of amount, it is nearly 360 crore. That is the auction we are done during the quarter.
Sure. Thanks. That's all from me.
Thank you. Yeah, the next question from the line of Juan from Point72. Kindly proceed.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity and congratulations on good growth momentum. Just three quick questions here. Firstly is on the growth side, right? So are we changing our strategy, i.e. going from more majority 3-month product to more like a 6-month product?
So, can you make it clear? Are we moving from 3 months to 6 months? Is the question?
Yeah, because I think your 3-month product percentage of loan came down quite a bit, quite sharply this quarter.
Yeah. Yes. We are. See, we believe that moving from 3 months to 6 months is justified. So that the customers would get up to 9 months. Even then, more of our focus would be regular collection of interest. For that, we have done several facilities to the customer. Customer interface is improved through using online technology, collection technology, etc. So we internally have assessed moving to around 3 months to 6 months. So that the customer would get a maximum of 9 months. This is, there is a slight shift in the strategy.
Got it. Understand. And how should we think about the yield going forward? Because I think we have a little bit of yield drop this quarter. I'm not sure whether that's related to the having more 6-month product in the mix. Do you mind give us some color on how much you will continue to drop and to what extent, and when can we see a bottom?
So I am not able to get your query really. What is it?
Sorry, I'm just asking on the yield side, right? The NIM and also the yield has declined a little bit this quarter sequentially. So as we go for these 6-month products, shall we expect to see continued yield and NIM decline?
I get your point as yield, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So the yield, there is some shrinkage. We hope it will settle around somewhere around 2%, lower than our highest yield in the previous quarter. So this 2% will be compensated by improved branch efficiency. That is, as we have around 3,600 branches, which is not growing in numbers. So the average AUM per branch is bound to grow with this growth. So this is going to grow our operating efficiency and push our OPEX to AUM down. So the second thing, what we look at is with this growth, our capital adequacy, which is the Tier 1 capital, the capital adequacy will be down. We want to keep it down to somewhere around 25%. That is the Tier 1. So we have reduced that by around 200 basis points, so 150, 200 basis points last quarter. So with more growth in the portfolio, it will be down. Our overall objective is to see that we grow at a rate of 20%, where gold loan also grows at 15-20% year on year, and also maintain an ROE at 20%.
Got it. So when you say 2% lower, are you referring to 2% lower than current quarter? I.e., if I look at the standalone net yield 25.3%, is it relative to that, or sorry, I didn't catch that.
2% reduction in yield from the current quarter levels.
Got it. Sorry, just last question on the operating expenses front. So grateful if you can share some color on, what's the outlook for second half, will it continue to increase, and also how should we think about the absolute OPEX growth rate for the full year, this year and also next year?
So see, the reduction can happen very fast because it will be maintained because in coming 2-3 quarters, whatever has to come down, it will come down. Thereafter, it will be stabilized. So what we have said, we are expecting that to come down around nearly 2%. Can happen in 2-3 quarters, and will be sustained thereafter.
Sorry, 2% you are referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can answer.
Hello? Sorry.
So on the yield part, we are expecting a 2% reduction from Q2 level. On the OPEX part, in absolute amount, we are not expecting much increase. But on a better growth, we should be able to reduce the percentage is our expectation.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, kindly press *1. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Tibrewal from Motilal Oswal. Kindly proceed.
Yes, thanks for taking my questions. Ma'am, in the previous question, while you have already kind of touched upon the fact that you're expecting the yields to settle down around 200 basis points or 2 percentage points lower than the current levels. A, if you could just, kind of quantify that, and B, given that we have clearly embarked on a change in business model where we are kind of looking at a sustainably lower yields, maybe over the next 2 quarters, what does that translate into, spreads, by the end of this year? That's the first question that I had. And the second question was, when I look at the increase in OpEx that you have had, and thanks for giving out that bridge that you have given on slide number 19, highlighting which all components have kind of led to this increase in OpEx. What I'm trying to understand is, you have paid out something like 31 crores in incentives during the quarter against disbursements of something like 35,000 crores, if I heard you correctly. So now, if you could just help us understand, what are these kind of incentives that you are kind of giving out? Because the incentives look very high, and given that you have suggested that, you're not expecting a material increase in the absolute OpEx, would it be fair to suggest that, for such high levels of disbursements to sustain, we would have to continue giving out such higher incentives?
So one part I will take the quantification CFO will do. So the lower yield, I have told the yield may settle in the coming quarters by around 2% lower than the current level. Yeah, it will be matched by one, the increased efficiency, operating efficiency at the branch level. You see, the growth is happening in the existing branches with the same number of employees. So this will bring down the OpEx slowly. Then another thing that I have mentioned about the use of capital more efficiently. The tier 1 capital as of now stands at around 32%. So we intend to bring it down slowly to around 25%. Bringing more efficiency as far as capital usage is concerned. You also pointed out about 31.2 crores as incentive. See, we have been facing this pandemic situation, and we were not able to get our employees back. So we need to get our employees back and also do their marketing activities. So this has led to the payment of 31 crores as incentive. Our target had been, what we have seen losing during the first quarter is in higher ticket acquisition. We were losing to our competition in higher ticket cases in gold loan. So having understood that, we have attacked that segment, and we were able to bring it up. It has gone down from our 50% level by around 9% during the first quarter. But we were able to bring it back to around 50% plus level during the second quarter. This was done one through the advertisement, bringing the yield down at that in that segment, particularly where according to the ticket size, over say 5 lakhs, between 3 to 5 lakhs, by about 2 lakhs, etc. So we had to bring down some reduction in the yield. This is and these are yielding results now. We are able to grow these 5 tickets above 5 lakhs also. So this is why this is a strategy, and this strategy is paying off well, and we are hopeful of achieving the target of 15 to 20% growth year on year through this strategy, which we have demonstrated in the past. We have regained that strategy in the second quarter. You have seen the growth coming back very fast. So regarding some of the numbers which has been asked, Bindu can answer.
So the expected yield reduction of 200 basis points, we expect 1/4 of that can be achieved through reduction in cost of borrowing. So on the spread, we may have to expect 1.5% dip is what we are expecting. With regard to incentives of 31 crore, on an average, we used to have 3 crore per month as the incentive. So in a quarter, we may spend 10 crore in the past. But during the quarter, we additionally spend almost 20 crore. This payment is mainly on the growth portion only. So we paid for a growth of up to 18,750 crore gold loan AUM growth. And the incentive will depend on further growth from that level. So this incentive include for all the businesses, the non-gold businesses also during the quarter, vehicle finance also could do well. So the 31 crore includes the incentives for vehicle finance, gold loan growth, and collection incentives is also a part of the 31 crore incentive. So from the previous quarter level, our expenses has gone up by 20 crore on a growth of 13% growth in gold loan AUM.
Sure, ma'am. And ma'am, if I can ask you just one last question here. Under this new business model, we've been talking about improvements in productivity and efficiency. Just trying to understand what kind of disbursements per branch or AUM per branch is something that you're looking for in the near term, given that, I mean, we've been talking about improvements in productivity and efficiency under the new business model. And given that we've hired, 1,600, I think, sales and marketing personnel during the quarter, what I'm trying to understand here is, can just addition of personnel, on a quarter-over-quarter basis, actually help us in improving disbursements?
Okay. So this 1,600 manpower is one-off only. We thought of adding one person for the majority of the branches to do the local marketing activities. So every quarter it will not happen. This is a one-off expenditure. And the branch efficiency per branch gold loan AM stands at rupees 5.2 crore now. And this has improved from 4.7 to 5.25 crore. As we are expecting another 15% growth in AUM, this will reflect in the per branch business. That is our expectation. So in absolute amount, the expense may not be increasing. So that will help us to have a lower OPEX to AUM ratio. That is the expectation.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much and wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prateek Agrawal from ASK Investment Managers. Kindly proceed.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I think the change in the business plan that we see, earlier you were very focused on profitability, but obviously, there was only so much growth that was possible. But now it seems with some tweaks, you are now able to grow very well, and that is a positive observation. A lot of my queries were actually asked by the previous guy. Could you simply, simplify it for me and tell me in the newer growth model, what should be the ROA that should be expected for the gold business on a sustainable basis?
the ROA will be maintained above 4.5, between 4.5 to 5% level. See a few things here. So the growth you are seeing in gold loan has come during the second half of the second quarter. So the average growth during that period was lower. It was actually negative, even though we have grown by the 13%. So the benefits will come only in the coming quarters. So we may be able to maintain an ROA of around 4.5 to 5%. 5% is our expectation.
Understood. Just one added question. Now that gold prices have moved up from the bottom, and would you change your auctioning policy a bit? We have seen your competition keeping on holding gold till actually they fear making a loss, rather than auction it off immediately if the borrower is unable to pay back.
Our strategy is to see that the auction is reduced. So we give incentive to the customers as well as our own employees to contact the customers and get it redeemed or renewed at the new rates as much as possible. So what we believe is putting pressure on them at an early stage to fetch better results. This is what we have seen during the past 5 years. But the post COVID scenario was slightly different. And we believe that early reminder, early pressure is better for the customer also. So the times will tell what is the right strategy. You need to watch for one or two more to see what is happening to a longer term lender.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thanks. All the best for the future.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vivek Ramakrishnan from DSP Mutual Fund. Kindly proceed.
Sir, good afternoon. I wanted to ask about the microfinance book, where we have seen substantial slippage of your erstwhile portfolio into PAR 0 and PAR 30, and yet the collection efficiency number seems to be a bit high. In the sense, I'm trying to reconcile these set of numbers. How do you expect the microfinance book to behave going forward?
There had been some delay in collection. That is why the collection numbers, even though better, there is a slippage to PAR. So now, as the rural economy started picking up, we hope the PAR also will come down going forward. We have given adequate provisions already. 10.2% of the loan book prior to this COVID outbreak. This has been already either written off or provided for. So we have made enough provision, and we believe we'll be able to contain the credit loss with that. Now I'm leaving to the CFO to clarify the numbers.
So as pointed out by Chairman sir, though our efficiency is now picking up, the main reason what we have analyzed is the fresh flow which is coming, so which is not able to. So that is why our PAR is remaining at little higher level. And in the MFI industry, generally the customers are not able to pay 2 EMIs in one go and get them regularized. So that is where my PAR may for some time is remaining at had remained at a higher level, and And Q3, we are definitely expecting collection efficiency also to go beyond 95%. Number one, and number two, we are also working towards to ensure that fresh flow doesn't come, which is causing that PAR is not able to reduce. So that these two things should help us to reduce PAR.
And our new dispersal strategy also is very conservative. 80% of our new dispersals are to existing regular customers. We are conservative. Another thing what I want to highlight again, the new dispersal in these segments, the collection efficiency is nearly 99%. That is the existing customers who have a good track record, who have been regular customers, as well as the customers who have been screened and given loan very well. So it is going well, and now our collection efficiency is around 93% as against 84% during the previous month or the previous quarter. It has improved from 74% to 93%. And this quarter, month on month, it is improving. And this quarter, towards the end of this quarter, we hope it will cross 95%.
Excellent, sir. If I can just ask a follow-up question, is the lag or the PAR ratios coming out of a few regions where there have been any problems, or is it like a more broad-based thing?
Yeah, the major thing has come from the places, geographies where the lockdown was prolonged. One, in southern Tamil Nadu, and in West Bengal, etc. There had been some delay, but now with the improved focus in these particular states, the collections are bound to improve. One good thing about this is the state where we are from, that is Tamil Nadu, where we have a good grip of things. The collections were lower compared to other states. Now, as we know the state and we have the people have come forward and the lockdown is removed, things are back, we'll be able to improve the collections very fast there, which gives us the hope that towards the end of this month, next month, etc., the collections will go above 95%.
Excellent, sir. Wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Alok Shah from MNCL Group. Kindly proceed.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. Just two questions from my side. You've talked about something like a 4 to 5% ROA on a standalone book. Does that mean that we can go back to something like 24-25% ROE on a standalone basis, even as we look to adjust our yields part? That's my first question. And the second question is trying to get your sense on is there anything in terms of deviation on the IRAC norms from what is the standard practice or what RBI has been talking about, or in reference to the document that has come out on Friday evening?
So, with our target at the CRAR and ROE is around 20%. So anything more than we consider that as a bonus. We will endeavor our best to see there is a bonus. Yes, with 5% ROA or between 4.5 to 5% ROA. Yeah, even at 30% level, the tier 1 level, we will be able to maintain. And we want to bring slowly to around 25%. Yes. So between 4.5% to 5%, targeting an ROE of this will be is possible. So your question on this is limited to standalone book. No, it is the consolidated level. But of course, we have we will maintain that level of ROA on the standalone book.
Sure, sir. And anything on the second point on the IRAC norms?
Yeah. See, I have no idea about the IRR norms or what is going to come in the next document, etc., etc. So, from my team, anybody is having any idea, they can try to respond.
Yeah. So on the recent circular, this came last day only, and we are in the process of evaluating the implication on the non-gold businesses. What is the impact? So we are studying in details, and we will come back with the details. This is an industry issue, so we will see how the whole industry. Definitely, I think Manappuram will not be very different. So we are evaluating the implication of the circular.
Log, what I understand is about the NPA recognition, no?
Yes.
So, there could be some change if once it is recognized as NPA. So, throughout its life, it will remain as NPA, etc. But I guess this is something. See, first of all, 2/3 of our portfolio is in gold loan, which it doesn't have this problem. The second thing, see, even if it comes, it will lead to only a delayed recognition of the income. So it is not going to have any impact on the business. It is only a temporary 1 quarter, 2 quarter impact for the industry as a whole. Because you see, when 180 days NPA recognition came, then when it is gradually reduced to 120, 90, etc., etc., there had been a market feeling that the heavens are going to fall, but nothing has fallen. So the income is not going to go anywhere. So it may get, it is going to be, the recognition is going to be cash-based in such cases. So I don't think it is going to affect the industry as a whole.
Sure, sir. And maybe if I could just squeeze in one last question. This quarter, certainly there seems to be some kind of change in strategy of looking beyond 3 months as a product. Now, is that something which kind of will be on an ongoing basis, or we would look to go back to a 3-month product 2 quarters from now, because that's been a sweet spot for us?
See, for the last 5 years, we had been successful in the 3-month product. We had been successful. So the growth compared to the peer had been similar, the growth. So where we have missed the best was in addressing the concerns of fare tickets, which we have done it now, and we see growth. So the question is whether we'll go back. I cannot say no to that. We'll watch the market, and we see that we can maintain the growth going back to 3 months product. We may go. I'm not sure, but so what is most important for me is delivering the market expectation with regard to the CAGR growth as well as ROE.
So is it safe to say now that the key focus for management is now on growth? Because ROEs, there are drivers for ROE, and historical where there have been external factors which have impacted growth, we are trying to take up corrective measures to get that addressed.
So management thoughts are highly dynamic to see that to achieve that desired result, what is the strategy? We will adopt that.
Sure. Those are my questions. Thank you, and wishing you all the very best, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shubhranshu Mishra from Systematix. Kindly proceed.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Couple of data points. Just want to understand what is the weighted average LTV in percentage and rupees and what is the interest accrued and the gold price per gram in the quarter? So that's on the data points. What I wanted to understand is the concentration of the gold finance branches. What do the top 20 branches account for in terms of disbursement and AUM, and top 50 and top 100 for disbursement and AUM in gold finance branches? Thank you.
You can take up.
Yeah. Gold loan LTV at the end of the quarter was 67%, and if we take the current data, it is around 63%. And on a gold price of 4,500, this is 2,800 rupees is the LTV. Interest receivable 815 crore, 4.3% of AUM. And the other data points we will get back to you.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Mishra, any further questions?
No, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Madhu Dev from Alta Vista Capital. Kindly proceed.
Yeah, hi. My question is, if you could give me what is the total restructured portfolio in your non-gold business, and how much provision are you carrying against the same?
So the restructured portfolio, in Ashirvad, CFO will.
No, I'm not only asking about Ashirvad because that figure.
Okay. So restructuring mainly happened in the case of MFI business, which Yogesh has already given the number. Around 1,000 crore the restructured book. But as the moratorium book is not there, in all the cases the billing started, and if the customer is not paying, this will be reflecting in the PAR numbers. Other businesses we have not done much during the quarter. Q1 housing was some 50 crore. Vehicle finance some 2 crore rupees only. So these are the broad numbers, and on the restructured book we are considering a higher provision than the RBI mandated provision.
I mean,
ma'am, MFI book. Yeah.
Ma'am, if you could share what was the provision in the Ashirvad book for this 1,000 crore restructuring?
Yeah. Yogesh.
Yeah. So for this 1,000 crore, whatever is my book, I mean, we may have some portion of direct assignment which belongs to the bank. That is around 270 crore. So out of the, if I remove that, there is around 725 crore which is in my book. On that book, we have close to 18% of provision we are carrying. So around.
Got it. And you don't have any restructuring for the gold loan portfolio, right?
So it is less than some 50 crore. Gold loan, anyway, it is a fully secured book.
Right. And you auction promptly.
So 50 crore book in gold loan.
I just wanted to understand this because as you rightly highlighted that there is a change in strategy. You're going to move to a more 6-month product, and there's going to be a collection of monthly collection, etc. So will that materially change your auctioning policy or anything of that sort?
I don't think so. So, you see, our strategy is simple, very simple, because we target a CAGR of 20% and also ROE of 20%. So, our strategies will be revolving around that. So, we, for the sake of growth alone, we are not going to compromise our yield too much. if we are satisfied with the CAGR in gold loan, what we are targeting is 15 to 20% growth. So to achieve 15 to 20%, what should be the pricing? This is going to be our lookout. So this is what we have been telling the market, and we are hopeful of maintaining during the next 3-4 years. We are hopeful, very much hopeful of doing that.
Sir, this is just out of curiosity, my very last question. You are increasingly getting into the turf of the banks, the banking customers, and that is why it might be necessary for you to keep dropping your yields. And but they have a cost of fund advantage, of course. So does this mean that structurally we are getting into a situation where we will have incrementally lower ROA in the business?
You see, I have not targeted the bank's customers, and I have not considered the banks as our competition, because our USP is very different. Our USP is quick turnaround and availability. Availability means bank's counter is open for gold loan for around 15 hours a week, whereas our counter is open for 48 hours. So this is the big difference, and we understand the gold loan customers, their needs, who around more than 40-50% will redeem during this month. For him, what is most important is his time. So he will not wait up to 10 o'clock and waste a day. And for redemption also, he doesn't want to waste a day by coming over to the counter before 3 o'clock, etc. This is not affordable for a customer where the average ticket price is around 50,000. This is our target audience. Our competition is from the NBFCs, and NBFCs, the pain points are common. At some point of time, we have to come to some sort of informal understanding at below that pricing, and nobody can go. So this is a market reality. So our target is mainly from the unorganized sector, which constitutes around 2/3 of the lending to the gold loan borrowers.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for any closing comments.
So, thank you. We know that there will be some reaction when the expected profit is not delivered. But I can tell you, this is only a temporary phase of 1 or 2 quarters maximum. And our target of growth and ROE will be delivered in future quarters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Batlivala and Karani Securities India Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.